Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
And I have the bladder the size of a pea.
Just so you know, there is a bathroom right behind you.
Yeah, I've already used it.
Oh, there's
That's-
There's 3.
we have 3 half bathrooms here. We're real into luxury.
It's very
That is
luxurious.
luxurious. Luxurious. I hope I say things like
Luxurious.
Luxurious.
But don't worry. When we say stuff wrong,
We don't edit it out.
no, we don't, and we actually just look it up and see if anyone said it right.
Yeah, we're doing like real time.
If you listened last week, we really discussed how to say niche.
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 I think they're 2 different words.
They're the same word. If you listened to episode 9,
Right, I didn't. I'm not
you
there
would
yet.
have known.
She's still on episode Bike Lane.
I was like, this is overwhelming, Justin. I'm sorry. I'm out.
All right.
He handled it very well.
He did. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. You guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure you talk on the microphone, for real.
Okay.
Or we're gonna yell at you.
Aggressively.
All right, Brennan, kick us off.
All right. Welcome to The Word. We have Amy Garniss from Garniss Law Office. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
And we have Jackie Medeiros from Fidelity National Title Insurance Company.
Hello.
Is that right? Did I get it right?
You did. Good
I
job,
read
Brendan.
all the emails. I got it right.
Good agent.
Yeah. So welcome. And obviously Seth's here.
Hey guys, I'm here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah. So what we like to do is start off with a little bit about background on you guys, like who you are, how you got to where you are, and how you got involved in this crazy business. So I guess we'll start with you, Jackie.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your background. How the hell did you end up hawking title policies to lawyers? Give us the Sophia version.
I actually did not grow up dreaming to be a title rep, believe it or not.
Shock.
That's strange. Yeah, you
Right?
say that.
My mom is actually a realtor, and my dad's always had his own company. So when I was going to college, I knew there were 2 things that I would never do: real estate or sales. So I was gonna be a graphic designer.
And
right?
here we are.
Here we are. And,
Oh, that's why you're good at the TikToks.
right. Go back to that. So I was one of those crazy kids that joined the Army National Guard to pay for college. And then...
Thank you for your service.
Oh, no, you're welcome. So I went on...
Did you do anything? I'm just kidding.
Well, I was an MP. I was I was in the National Guard. And so I was a full-time college student. And then 9/11 happened, and I was on active duty for 2 years.
Where at?
Just like stateside. I went to Fort Drum. I was at Logan Airport. Like we were backfilling for other units when they would deploy. So I got off of active duty in 2002, and the market for graphic designers was like done. I thought, wow, that whole web design thing just isn't going to happen.
It's like the .com bubble just happened.
Right.
It's like no
Oh,
one had
what a shitty time.
no one had a website then or something. I don't know.
Yeah, at the time I thought I would be a state police officer or a marshal or something. I was definitely on that law enforcement track.
Yeah.
But in 2002, there was a state hiring freeze. So I called this placement office, and they said, hey, we have this company, Fidelity. I found a placement agency, and I called my dad, and I said, I got a job at Fidelity Investments. So here we are, 20 years later.
Wow.
Wait, when did you figure out it wasn't Fidelity Investments?
I remember reading a brochure, like, what is title insurance? It doesn't even make any sense. Kind of reading about closings. Like, oh, no. How did this happen?
That's kind of funny.
That is funny.
Like in a roundabout way.
How much time do you think went by before you realized you were working at a different company?
Probably a good 6 months. You know?
Oh my God, that's the best. And you've been at Fidelity since 2002?
Yeah, since 2002. I started in the commercial division. I would help the underwriters on the big deals. I would help the salespeople at the time with the nice attorneys like yourself. And then in 2006, my predecessor left her job, and I said, hey, I want to be a sales rep. Looks like a great gig. And here we are.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amy, what about you? How did you end up in this twisted game?
Well, the long and short of it is I knew I wanted to go to law school like a long time ago. I don't know
you
if
did?
you had that.
No.
Yes.
I didn't want to go to
so
law
did
school.
Brendan.
What?
Right?
I'm just kidding.
No, I didn't. I wanted to get an MBA.
Oh,
And then
so,
I got talked out of it.
Brendan
that
was-
was
Brendan
terrible
was-
advice.
I know.
Never should
Every
do that.
day.
I hope you
You were
don't.
forced to go to law school.
A little. My
Sort of.
parents were very
Oh, the
pushing
MBA
it.
was the way to go.
Yeah,
I wish someone talked me out of it.
I say that every day.
Right.
I think you guys are like half serious, but also half kidding.
I'm like 100%. I've been out of law school since 2004. If I showed you what I still owed, you'd all throw up right on this table.
Really? Still, huh?
Oh,
you haven't made the turn yet?
I think I can understand.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to consult on the quantity of your legal fees. I've been coaching Brendan to charge more money recently.
He charges too much money.
Excuse me.
Mindset is everything.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought we were friends. I mean, I
know. I have to charge more.
I regret this invitation already.
Inflation.
Just wait.
Inflation.
Right. Plot plans went up. Why can't attorney fees?
That's correct.
Well, we're going to get into that because one of the things Jackie talks about a lot is the quality of your closing attorney, right? So
I'm big on that.
There's a flight to quality with bad titles. We'll get there, but we're still on the whole
right, how I got
how you got here.
What was your name again?
Right. I'm not sure.
Because in kindergarten you wrote, "I want to go to law school," so you're like,
but
"I'm
I was
doing
in like
it."
high school.
Okay.
I realized because I took like a government class, and it was the only class I wasn't like struggle city because I was an adult diagnosed dyslexic. Never knew why I struggled.
Oh, really?
Now I know. Don't be nervous. I deal with millions of dollars a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes
what could
the
go
decimal
wrong?
point
What could
isn't
go
in
wrong?
the right place, but I work it out.
Checks and balances. It's fine.
It's all fine.
You get people in the office to help with.
Right. I'm always like,
stuff.
this isn't balancing. Can someone else look? My brain is,
That's
Thank you, software.
Offline, we'll talk about a long escrow battle Brendan and I had recently that sounds something like that conversation. It was borderline miserable.
right. Yeah.
Oh, it was miserable as of today.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's over now.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
Oh,
but
we are. We are. I was on the phone with the bank getting, checks, cashier's checks stopped and reissued.
Oh,
That's
no.
great.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
always a good
For-
time.
Yeah.
for
Sounds
like
bad.
for like 90 days, I was like, I don't want to hold escrow anymore. Will you hold it? And he was like, yeah, sure.
The answer to that, Brendan, is no all day long. Say, unless you're splitting your commission with me, Seth, go find someone else to hold your escrow.
You'll be.
Oh, we were going to get $100 a file.
We were really listen.
It seemed good
This
in
is-
theory.
This is not Seth's feedback session,
Right.
but let's just all mutually agree it was a top 5 worst fucking idea ever. By the way, you can swear. It's
Oh, yeah, you can definitely swear on the podcast. Yeah.
unless you're like worried about
You
reputation.
love that word,
Yeah.
Amy.
But
No.
but yeah,
I get asked
Anywho.
to stop dropping F-bombs a lot.
By who? Your kids?
Just people.
Oh.
I don't swear in front of them.
Oh,
Actually,
that's
a lot.
good.
And if I do, they're like, "Oh man, Mom's so pissed." They like run for the hills.
I love it.
it took me a solid 20 months to stop swearing in front of Kennedy.
And has it worked?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, my husband's quote is, "They're not going to be serial killers because I say fuck." And I'm like,
He's got a good
You
point.
There might be a couple
I
other
mean, there may be other
though.
reasons.
Yeah. Anywho,
So high school, government.
love law.
loved it.
Love
Loved
the
it.
law.
Dyslexia.
Then I moved to New York City after college. I was pre-law college.
Like real New York City.
Worked right downtown Manhattan at a big firm. I did corporate law and I loved it.
Really?
Oh my God. I loved it. I was like,
Which part? Living in New York or the corporate law?
both.
Both.
Crushed it. I would like wait at the bar for my direct deposit to come in so I could buy more drinks after midnight. Right? I mean, that was living the life.
Oh, it's so
And then at the time I could fit into Kids Gap and it was right on the corner of Broadway. And I would go and they'd have the steamer. They'd know I was out all night.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell my bosses. And they would steam the clothes for me to
The
put
Gap
on.
was open at 8 a.m.?
Yes. They would. No, they were in there setting up and they would
Hold
just
on.
let me come
Back
in. Yeah.
So you would just be out
Yes.
hitting it hard all night,
All night.
and you would go to Kids Gap
Kids Gap was cheaper.
to steam your work clothes.
No, I would buy them.
Oh,
They would be new clothes.
oh,
that
this
they
is
would-
so much less funny than I thought.
yeah, no.
It's still pretty good.
I thought you would go there and like swap
Oh.
outfits. Be like, can you guys steam this for me? I have to go to
No.
work in an hour.
Nope.
Go get a Starbucks.
I
Or
mean, that
pretty
wasn't
amazing.
every day, but it happened.
A couple
listen,
times.
I feel like I've been living in the dark, not have known this.
Yeah.
I haven't fit in the Kids Gap since I was
Nah.
6.
right.
Same.
Now
It's
I just
not normal.
now I just rock hoodies. It's all good.
Yes. Same. No, they didn't even recognize me because I didn't have gym clothes on.
This is a true story. It was like buttons.
It's a podcast.
I know. And then I came back to Boston and went to law school and knew I interned for criminal lawyers and I tried all that stuff and I hated court.
Really?
Hated it.
Wow.
Hated it. And I knew I just wanted to push papers. And I got out of law school in 2004 when they were giving mortgages to people with pulses.
Well, that sounds fun.
Some people without them.
Days.
Yeah, they're like, oh, hey, do you breathe? Let me give you a second loan for your first mortgage for a down payment. I literally thought that was just normal for years.
Right.
And how you got a mortgage. I was like, oh, you only need to put $50 down with your PNS.
No,
Right.
no
This is the
income,
greatest thing ever.
no assets.
You're like,
no
I bought 6 houses.
No
You're
employment
right.
verification.
I literally sat in a room of a firm in Boston, and it was one closing after another, and I just sat there with 2 loans. Closed loans.
All day long.
All day long.
Close
old
loans,
days.
cash checks.
Did you negotiate PNSs too back then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I didn't write such colorful comments as I do now.
Oh, I
Like-
love it when you blind CC me.
Don't be a douche. One time I BCC'd Brendan and wrote to the attorney, hey, so-and-so, I know we've never met, but I'm just going to guess. You're about 5 foot tall.
You did not do
Yes,
that.
I did. Yes, I did. And then Brendan calls me and goes, he is. He is. And I was like, amazing. I was like, let me just
Oh,
guess.
my
'Cause you
God.
are
Oh, Amy's the
such
best.
a douchebag. I never had those kind of balls before, but now I'm like, ugh, whatever. I've been doing this for too long.
We talk about that a lot. Like you really become intolerant to certain behavior and like
Yes.
this snippiness, for lack of a better word, just like it just boils.
For no reason. Ian, like, we're all doing the same thing, man. You don't have to make this more difficult than it is. It's not.
Well, I actually
Said daily.
I think I actually make things more difficult often than they need to be, but
Usually it works out.
it's out of complete frustration of incompetence of others in the industry.
Yeah.
And so like there's few things that make me boil over more than someone who has no clue what they're doing. And I just become a raging dickhead.
Unless they tell me up front.
I'm a raging
Hey.
dickhead.
Yes. No,
That
hey,
happens?
I'm new. I've had attorneys say, like, working under someone, I'm brand new. And then I'm nice. I'm like, you shouldn't let me do this.
But I'm going to anyway.
I'm going to make this change. So when you see it, you shouldn't let it happen.
So then you're nice.
I'm
Do
nice.
you put that in the
people.
same email or you say it offline?
Offline. I don't want them to look
yeah.
like idiots. I
Yeah.
want them to look like superstars.
Oh, that's so good of you.
Yes.
You have such a big heart.
I think I say it online a lot. This might be a problem.
Yeah.
So when did I meet you, Amy? I met you in Peabody,
Yes.
right? So when did you? That was probably like 2009, 8. It was like tough times.
Jackie, what year were our kids born?
2013.
13.
That's right.
I was like, shoot, I don't know the answers.
Actually, Amy and I did prenatal yoga together, and I
Wow.
remember that like totally randomly. We were both very, very pregnant. Our daughters are the same.
So Aubrey's the same age as the twins.
They're not
They're
twins.
not-
They're not twins?
They're a
I
year
thought you were
apart.
twins.
Irish twins.
What the fuck?
No, they're 20 months apart.
Oh,
They are?
Yeah.
I thought they were twins.
No.
Oh, that's less interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right. They're 7 and 9.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
no.
you were like one and done.
No.
Oh.
No.
Me.
Yeah.
I'm about to have number 2 next month.
Hey,
Congrats.
congratulations.
It's so easy.
That was you're being facetious, I think, right?
Little.
A little bit. How
The
old's
eye
the
roll
first
gave
one?
it away.
She is 3.5.
Oh, all right. She'll be helpful, actually. That's not.
She's
a
very
bad-
helpful right
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
I like to trick her into like bringing me my shoes right now.
Yep.
She's like, "Okay, Dad, no problem.
Right. That's good.
Thanks, honey."
I just remember loving 5. Like I just remember 5. We went and we had lunch. We sat down. She wasn't throwing food. 5. I'm
Yeah.
here for that.
She's
Could go to the bathroom.
she's
on her
great
own.
and-
Sold.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's been potty trained for a long time now, which is
Oh.
actually great.
Yeah.
That is good.
Um,
Girls are easier
She-
than boys, right?
she also
In everything.
Different parts, I guess.
Aside from.
Different phases.
she also
the tent.
hit me in the face with a lollipop this morning because I wouldn't let her eat a giant chocolate lollipop at 7:01 in the morning.
I mean,
Bipolar.
it's all
How
the
big was the
same.
lollipop?
The size of your fist.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I feel like maybe let's, I don't know, eat something else first.
Yeah.
Just something first, like lick an apple, eat the lollipop.
Right.
That's how I play.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I save that for conference calls, right? Like whatever it takes.
Go somewhere else. Please.
All right, let's talk about something.
Yeah. So what I thought would be interesting is because you two are both in the title world, and it's sort of this crazy thing that I feel like not everybody understands, right?
So true.
And Jackie, you especially are so out there on social media and just everywhere talking about the importance of title, the importance of having good lawyers, reviewing titles, all that stuff. So tell us a little bit about what you're preaching on the socials.
So backtrack, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I started networking with realtors and lenders, like really.
Why? That seems crazy for a title rep.
Well, historically, we always market to your clients, right? Like the attorney brings people to the title company and we all do stuff together. But maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I realized things were changing. I needed to start making new friends. Like you just kind of ran into the same people over and over. So I started going to the realtor groups and really just meeting new people. And the thing that I really have realized is that realtors and lenders have no idea what it is that you closing attorneys are doing for them at all when it comes to title. So the problem,
anything else.
right? But it's true. It's because we are terrible at explaining it. I mean, I'm a title rep, and in fact, the American Land Title Association has done this whole spread about
is that
title
Alta?
People. Alta, right?
That's
but
their
Alta,
real name.
Good job, B. Good job.
That is pretty good.
That should have had a unicorn.
Lower right hand corner.
Come on, Seth. Yep. Yeah, good job.
Thank you. I was texting my client. Sorry. I forgot to do something. It was pretty time sensitive. So.
Sorry, we didn't accept that offer and it expired.
Right. Someone also just asked me if I had an offer deadline. Yes, I'm sorry to just interrupt rudely all of you guys. We had a listing in Lynn. It received. We had over 180 people at this property. In 3 days of open houses.
Just get to the real
13
numbers.
offers.
13. Wow. Lynn is
all but one significantly over asking. And someone just said, after it's marked under agreement,
love this.
Hey, good afternoon. Is the owner still accepting offers? He submitted his W-2s today to get pre-approved.
Just right back.
Nope.
Find another career.
Maybe make the buzzer noise
Wrong.
This agent also, this is a real story, by the way, also accidentally called a lender whose collateral was at the open house and left them a voicemail saying that their client was interested and had some questions about the property.
Like she thought the lender was the realtor?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And so that's your reply, Seth.
He sent me, I'm like, I
reach out to so-and-so.
I should pretend I'm the lender now. I think you have me confused.
No, I think you're right. Find a new career. That's
Period.
Back to that. That's it. That's what it needs to be.
How tall are you?
You don't get
Find
it.
a new career. Right. Are you short?
P.S. You don't get it.
Wow. I'm just going to say nope.
Find a new career.
This is definitely one of the topics I did want to touch on, but we'll come back to this about
Lynn.
No, about just incompetence. I would call that, or the general lack of knowing how to do business.
I think just a quick rant.
I love a
the
rant.
ability. You guys are talking about school and degrees, all this stuff to be an attorney. Like, well, I got kicked out of college. Fun story. Tune into another episode of The Word to find out how that happened. But
it's a good one.
At the end of the day, the barrier of entry is so low in this business. And, I think it's something like 80,000 agents in Massachusetts right now. About 55,000 of them won't sell a house this year. And a very small percentage will sell more than 2 homes. So the lack of experience is a pandemic in and of itself in this industry.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
It's really, really bad.
Well, there's so many people that haven't seen a down market. I mean, we've had a nice run for 9 years.
I'm looking forward to the flush out, which I think is already happening.
Thin the herd, baby.
I think it's going to happen with lenders too.
Oh yeah,
it already has. Yeah.
You have a ton of baby boomers in this industry that they do a lot of business and they had business to do, so things are getting tough now. You would get out. If you were nearing retirement, you would get out. Makes sense.
Yeah. What's weird is almost none of them ever retire. They all just keep their license active and
keep going.
Because it just falls in their lap. Like, are you going to say no? If you're still active and
listen, I don't
able to do it.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to show houses when I'm 70 years old, man.
Never say never.
All right, we'll see.
Because you can live on your boat, Seth.
Right.
So many different options.
Never know.
Right.
I feel like it's just going to be one of those podcasts.
It might be. It might be.
Is there another good button? There you go. See?
Just that whole side seems to be good. We need to label them.
I need to label.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Moving on.
We have all the good things. So, Jackie, you were talking about title and title insurance and how you started networking.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah, we
how
were actually
you
talking
looked
about
at it
something.
differently.
Right.
You know,
so once I started meeting realtors and lenders kind of on my own without you attorneys, I started to get to know them better. And I just realized they actually care so much about every other aspect of a real estate closing, and they care about protecting their clients. But then when I see the attorneys they pick, they continuously pick the people that's the cheapest, that's the fastest, and that's
cheapest.
It's always the cheapest. And the problem is that by
Sing
comparison,
it, sister.
all right,
Sing
the
it.
good lawyers, they're having a hard time because of the bad lawyers. It's the people that are not treating this like the practice of law that are going to destroy our industry if we let them. So I think that's
Hot take.
social media. I think that is our platform to start to teach them why it matters, why they shouldn't be picking the cheapest attorney, why you want someone reviewing your purchase and sale contracts, watching out for your taxes. Like, if we don't tell them, they won't ever know, and they're going to put us out of business, frankly.
So what you're saying is I need a TikTok.
Oh, 100%. Jackie will teach you how to
I'm
do
available.
the TikToks.
I almost had, when I taught the MBA class, they wanted to do one. That was going to be like their class project.
You were going to be the class project?
Yeah. And I was like, no, they're like, come on, it'll be so fun. I'm like, it sounds awful. But that was their idea.
You need to step up your social game.
I have none.
Well, then there's a very low bar to get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like just having any is better.
Well, here's the thing. I have this whole, so when the real estate market crashed, I was 24 years old, right? So back in 2006, I had tons of friends that were in real estate. They all got out. I was like the last man standing. And I was still like the youngest person everywhere I went until about 2 or 3 years ago, right? So I'm 41. These new people are 30, younger. So there's going to be this generational gap that I see, right? Where they're not going to have the prior generation in any field. In realtors, the lenders, they're going to miss that knowledge from the prior generation. So that's kind of what's coming our way.
Yeah.
How do we fill that up?
So do you find the content that you're creating, like who's the true target audience for it then?
My social media is really for real estate professionals,
Sure.
lenders, attorneys, realtors. So I guess my pillars would be title insurance, sales, and marketing.
Yeah.
What about yours, Amy?
I don't post even personally.
Oh,
Ever.
why?
I don't know. I'm not a big social media person.
Oh.
I don't even do marketing. You'll be like,
No, you have those koozies. I love your koozies.
Oh,
Thanks
I
for
still
bringing
have
in
a
some for
box
us.
of 200.
I have one in the car. I'll give it to you.
I have great pens too.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
love pens.
where are the pens?
Are they blue?
Yes, of course you have to sign in blue.
Oh, I
That's a
love
very-
that.
All
Real estate
lawyers
appraisal.
love blue
I
I
pens.
only like blue pens.
Yes.
Even though they're scanned
What?
signatures and they're all black,
I
they
have-
have to be blue.
I have like a no wire hangers moment if I see a black pen. Like I lose
yeah.
my shit. And
One-
I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Do they
One-
have like a class about that in law school actually?
No, the
Because
lenders say must sign in blue ink in big bold letters on
Oh.
their closing
you
instructions.
read those.
Brendan.
Oh, I
has
didn't read
never.
those. No.
Brendan's like, now closing instructions are big bold letters. Must sign in blue ink.
One time, Brendan and one of my clients were like heckling each other about the color of pens. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And as a joke afterward, it was like a very good conversation. I don't know why it was so funny, but I must have missed it. I was doing something else apparently at the closing table, and so Brendan.
Seems like your MO, Seth.
Yeah, I'm perpetually distracted. So Brendan just FedExed him like a giant box of blue pens.
I did.
It was
That's
like a
good.
four day
Yeah.
delayed joke. It was
That's
pretty
cute.
good.
Yeah.
He thought it was pretty funny. It
I
doesn't
remember
sound as
that.
funny.
It was pretty funny. So the reason I use the blue pens is if you've ever had to sit there and like hold a
Yes,
piece of paper
right,
up to
exactly.
light to be like, is it an original? Is it
Right,
not?
because
Like which
copies
one
are
is it?
so good now, you can't
Right.
tell.
So like especially on the estate planning side, like
Right.
it just drives me wild when you're like, is there an indent? And then the court sends it back and they're like, this isn't an original. No question if it's
They
blue.
have like a monkey in the basement that tells them.
In Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin, is where the trolls are. So every time, like, don't you love the emails 30 days after closing when the, post-closing people are looking at the packages and they're like, you missed the, initials next to the line on the 2-person application on the 1031.
It doesn't sound like Amy. It doesn't sound like Amy screws up her closings.
Oh, I bet she misses a date here and there. You never get those follow-up emails?
I every once in a while.
I will say Amy's like on it.
She is on it.
All over that, like white on
for
rice.
19 years.
Yeah.
Like I've just been like, this is
Amy,
the initial.
You want a seller rep?
I told you earlier to give the seller rep to Amy.
We'll toss you a deal after
Yes.
this.
Perfect.
There you go. Brendan's the buyer attorney.
Yes. I can't wait to negotiate the piano.
Sounds like a good time.
I like your PNS.
Yes. We
made some updates. Do you want me to send you the updated version?
Send her a
I've made some
PDF that you.
updates.
Okay, we should get together and
we should fix it.
What if it's the same PNS?
It is.
Oh.
I dare you to send her a
And then who
markup,
we
like a
got it
PDF
from?
markup.
Yeah.
Who we stole it from called me on the phone and said, how am I not getting a kickback from this?
Oh, he asked us for one too.
And I said,
Who was it?
blah,
We'll
blah,
tell you
blah.
offline.
No,
Cool.
We're not
kickbacks.
giving you a kickback. There were typos we all had to fix. And he was like, Amy, screw you. I was like, well, I mean, come on.
I mean, the references are bad.
we all laughed. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
But it's mostly good.
Because I like when I send it to him. Like, look what I did.
Just for fun.
My favorite is when his minion rips it apart.
Oh, that's so good. He sends it back too with edits every time. Drives Dan and I crazy. We're like, it's your PNS and you're going to keep editing it.
Depends on which side.
So we actually just had a group workshop where we took our PNS and we basically tried to say, what is everybody else going to try to change that we're okay with just to avoid that step in the process? So we just went and like narrowed it down a little and tweaked it so that, it doesn't need to say may instead of shall. Like, it should just say shall. Everybody's going to cross it out on the paying off of the mortgage. Like, stupid little stuff that, like, gets changed every time. It was like...
So you should send that to me, and then I'll send it back to you.
All right. Will do. Done.
You guys might have an opportunity to do that here coming up. All right. Let's talk about... Can we talk about title problems?
Yeah.
All right. Can I tell a story?
Yeah. You can do anything you want.
Let's
it's our
see if we can
podcast.
solve it, unless you already have.
I don't know. I probably haven't.
It's been solved. This is an age-old story from the dawn of time.
Oh wow, that's a real
No. So
opening.
like, I feel like I've been involved in a bunch of fairly complex, but not really complex title issues. Right. We just got over one that's more of like heirs were screwed up 60 years ago. That's like a real title problem.
That is a real title problem.
One of the most common claims makers.
Mm-hmm.
Really. Unfortunately,
Facts.
these people...
So if you don't have owners...
Yeah, they were screwed. So they paid a ton of money to solve it, right? So not something like that actually, I think, takes some time to get fixed. But I find the most common stuff that I see comes up towards the end of transactions is always like improperly discharged mortgages. Now that bank's out of business. And
we have that one right now.
It's very common.
Once a week.
Yeah, very common. And I would say, at least my personal experience, 85-90% of the time, it gets solved 10 to 14 days-ish because the bank's still open. But in the instance...
If the bank is still open.
Right. So when the bank is open, they're very easy to solve.
Yes.
When the bank is closed, disaster.
Yep.
Right? And so in your opinion, if there's kind of... And I don't really understand how this happens. It's probably, to Jackie's point, like it was somebody shitty in the previous life reviewing the title and missed this improperly discharged.
Especially when it was
100%.
hot and heavy in the 2004 in that
Yep.
when they were giving mortgages in the appraisals and that whole thing, they were just closing loans.
Closing
I'm
over
not-
It's
problems.
stuffing the
Everything.
discharges in a drawer.
Literally,
Yeah.
that's my favorite folder. It's
You know,
called
title
discharges.
insurance.
What did I say?
My favorite folder is
Oh.
called discharges.
Do you have one?
Yes, hopefully it's empty.
Yeah, hopefully.
So the transaction I was involved in, I was representing the seller. These people bought 3 or 4 years ago. They were selling, moving cross country, and improperly discharged mortgage or a missing discharge. Bank's closed. Can't find or get anybody. Unfortunately, it wasn't a transaction Brendan and I were on, so there was definitely some miscommunication going on from the buyer The seller's agent being myself, and the attorney, somebody I've never worked with, you know, a little bit older, a little bit more non-communicative, a little bit more ego-driven, in my opinion, where, you know, I was like so low on the totem pole
I can't wait to hear this name.
I'd have to look it up
offline.
I'd have to look it up, to be honest with you. So I couldn't even remember. It's actually like one of those trauma moments that I've burned the entire scenario out of my brain. And the buyer got advice from their lender, attorney, and agent to not close. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, which is fine. It happened, I don't know, 72 hours before the scheduled closing. We found this out. Because they didn't get their title back until 72 hours before closing. That's a problem too.
But they can't close.
Right,
because they don't have marketable title. Right. Lenders.
So, no, they would, supposedly.
With an exception?
No, that's a lie.
And indemnify and undertake.
That's a different story.
Wait, who's
it's
doing
the reason I know it.
Right, okay.
And I was like, I don't understand what the fuck is happening.
So Title Insurance 1 was going to do an undertaking indemnification to Title 2. The Lenders Council said, don't do it. Don't buy it with indemnification and undertaking.
Right.
Probably.
Wait, I can't even believe any title insurance company would do that.
On an undischarged, or it probably was an assignment problem.
Well, I mean,
and they had owner's title.
An equity line.
It was an assignment problem with owner's title.
So what ended up ultimately happening is, closing was delayed for almost 40 days as we tried to chase, pull this thread, and it's super frustrating for my seller who literally like packed up their house. We essentially did the final walkthrough like 2 days before closing, and she moved to California to buy a house, which obviously I was not handling. Just complete emotional disaster for the seller, right? And the fact that it came up so late was super frustrating. The fact that no one really would communicate of what's going on, right, where we are in the process was really frustrating. And so I don't know. Talk to me a little bit about how shit like that happens. And what would be your recommended solve? Is there one, or you just have to wait around for the rest of the time until it gets solved?
There's a magic man, and I'm not joking.
There is a magic man in Florida, right?
There is.
The guy in Florida?
Can I just have his email address?
Oh, there's a magic guy in Florida.
His name is Kurt, and he is magic.
He has this little black book, I'm convinced, that he got in like 2009 where he wrote down all the banks as they were going out of business.
He'll be like, this is going to take me 3 weeks and cost you $450. And it's like, Kurt, I'll give you my right arm. And he gets it to me then, like, in the blink of an eye. He has the contacts. He decided years ago when this was an issue, he's an attorney. He was a title guy. He said, I'm going to make a living out of this. And he has the contacts at the bank to call.
Wow.
So I tell clients, I'll do this. You're not going to close with me doing it. I don't have the contacts. It's going to take me 3 weeks, 4 weeks to do it. Or you pony up. I ask, hey, what's this going to cost? And he goes, the worst kind, that'll be. But he never has actually charged over $450, which in the speed he gets it, and the closing can go off.
Wow.
He could do, he could charge whatever he wanted.
Totally whatever he wanted.
Sure. This client would have paid.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So whoever
So what are the scenarios that Kurt fixes?
Anything. The assignments, the discharges. Those he is like
the master.
Wow. The master.
Because we just had one. We have one right now. We have two problems right now. One is the bank went out of business. He can't find the assignment. The second one is...
there's a website for that.
We tried.
Okay.
Finally, we found it. So that one is less of a problem, but it held it up for like a week. We also have one where they're trying to sell, and they haven't paid the mortgage in like 6 years, and they don't know.
That.
6 years?
They don't know who holds the mortgage, and they've never gotten a bill, and no one can find the company that has the mortgage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so fun when they're like, I don't know why this is taking so long. I'm like, for some reason, I can't get your payoff. Oh,
we also had a
payoff. Haven't paid in 3 years. I'm like, well, you asshats. Clearly, the 1-800 number I call isn't going to work for you.
Not even a little.
Oh.
I mean, it is what it is now. But if you think back, like, remember when Lehman Brothers went down?
Yeah,
everyone's running away. Those are crazy times in real estate.
They were crazy.
Banks were
That's what I'm
funding
saying.
Loans, then they would go bankrupt the next day. They would resend wires.
I got a loan on a Wednesday. I went through a mortgage company, a no-doc loan. I printed out from the BBO website that I was a lawyer, and I wrote a salary down.
Done.
I'm not joking. In 2008. I closed on a Wednesday. That bank got raided on Friday. Shut down.
Were you recorded and funded?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I still live there.
Oh, it was for your current house.
good.
I love it.
Good move, Amy.
Yeah.
You weren't in that subprime tranche.
Right now, I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think my interest rate was 9%.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And people are complaining today about 6.25%.
Please.
Right.
I remember I was so proud of myself.
What was your first
8.
mortgage rate?
I was a little over 7, and I remember thinking, I got under an 8%. I'm awesome. I was so proud.
I think you need to do a TikTok on that.
I think I should.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably should.
Yeah,
it's
you
good.
probably should.
I'm reading this down.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So what are some other more common elementary issues you guys run into that cloud title?
Can I just intercede for a minute?
Yeah.
I think we should talk about what title is, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we'll give it
see?
to them.
We
Let's
were
back
talking
it
about-
up.
This is why we need you, Jackie.
Okay, so
Ready?
It's Jackie. Oh, the title.
The title princess. Proceed.
thank you. I would prefer queen, but okay.
Okay, the title queen.
Okay, thank you. So every piece of property has a history, right? That is what we call the title. So in Massachusetts, real estate closings are considered the practice of law. So when you originate a loan, you need to go to a closing attorney. And what they do is they basically tell the story of that property that you're talking about, right? They're going to go through, make sure everyone deeded it correctly, everything was paid off. They're going to make sure that you don't buy a problem. And then you are going to buy an owner's title insurance policy for you and a lender's title insurance policy for the bank. Hopefully that's through us at Fidelity, and that is title insurance.
And what does title insurance cover?
Could you tell us the difference between owners and lenders?
Well, okay, so right. So lender's title insurance only covers the lender, right? It only insures the lender. So a lender they won't lend a single dollar without having an insurance company protect their interests. But then the owner's title insurance policy is told as optional. So unfortunately, post-trade, the problem is that now we have lenders explaining owner's
Don't even
title
get me.
insurance.
Oh, don't even get me started on that part.
Before trade, you did the closing, you did the numbers, you had control. Now it's like, you get a loan, you fill out that loan estimate, everything's locked in. So
well, now the
gonna
lenders
change.
want to negotiate our fees. They want to negotiate
Exactly.
the title policy fees. Tell the borrowers they don't need it.
See, that's the thing. And I was having coffee with like a 28-year-old loan officer, and all he cared about was that magic number, right? So on the closing disclosure we use now, the whole form is about disclosing accurately what you're actually spending money on. But with the title charges, they want these attorneys to kind of have this magic number that works for every file that incorporates their out-of-pocket expenses, their title. And as the years go on, the problem is that these newer loan officers are not going to know how far we've come from like actually being able to reflect what.
And some of those fees haven't changed ever.
Oh my
Ever.
God. I have the same settlement fee.
Yeah.
For how long?
Why?
Because
Exactly
lenders. Because lenders.
lenders.
Because you have an actual fear, if you're a solo like I am, that they're going to send it somewhere else. So I'm going to keep my fee at $650 because what if they send it somewhere else? Like it's better to have the file than not have the order.
So are you talking more specifically about when a lender has an unrepresented, like an agent or a lender, or are you talking more from like a refi standpoint?
Either. In fact, I have the same fee.
Well, the thing, what's really
For a
been
refi and a
problem-
purchase?
Yeah.
One's more work.
Do you charge a buyer rep fee?
I don't. Is that insane?
Write
Yes.
that down, Amy.
Yeah.
I
Write
know
it
all
down.
about it. My
Yeah.
last place was hounding me for the buyer rep fee.
Do a buyer rep fees.
I think a lot of firms need this isn't directed at you guys to be clear, but
It can
there's
be.
there's a lot of
it.
firms they have to decide, are they a volume shop or are they a boutique customer service shop?
Right.
Well, and that's the thing now with the lending industry kind of squeezing the title industry, there really isn't middle ground like there used to be. You either can do a couple and do a lot of other things like, like estate planning like Brendan does, or you have to staff up and do a lot of closings. So I'm not saying all the title company models are bad at all. That's not the case, but
But
you
talk
want
to
people that are
20
paying
different
attention.
people who are looking at your one file.
Well, you
Seth,
can't
and that's
scale.
how things
Right.
slip through the cracks.
Can you say that again? I think you lost me.
So in the big companies that don't charge anything, you literally in one purchase probably talk to 6 to 7 different departments.
Sure.
Right.
At like a lending company.
No, at the law firm.
At the law firm, at a big shop.
Okay.
And
there's a person that opens the file,
Yes.
then that gets transferred to the person that orders the title, then it gets transferred to the person that orders the MLC, then it gets like it just keeps going on a conveyor belt to like different people.
And that's how we get on these email chains with 38 people before.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Love those.
There's like 2 types of title agents. When I talk about a real estate attorney, I'm calling them a title agent. I see the conveyancers. That's kind of that historic, old school, really focused on the practice of law. And then I see the title companies, and those are the ones that are really scaling. They have a lot of people, and some are great, and some are not great.
More like a Dalton Feingold. Is that what you're? Is that what you're saying?
Sure. I think they do a good job.
Title company.
No, they're more.
I would say they're more of a like a large firm.
They're a firm. Say. They do land use and zoning. They do estate planning.
Right.
More like a Chris, right? Or
right.
Just sold.
What?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that they got bought out
Big
by
money?
a hedge fund.
Yeah. But he's sold to a hedge fund. Wrap your mind around that for
Which
a minute.
is so strange.
Which you can't
I thought you couldn't
in this state.
Non-lawyer. He must be headquartered in Arizona.
Well,
the only state where you can sell a law firm to
maybe he
a
sold the title
non-lawyer.
company.
He must have sold the title company, and he's just going to act like the head.
Oh, that's so good.
But those offices and
I know,
specifically,
dream. That's a dream.
It's so hard because I see a good attorney really representing their clients in the interest of the lender, as opposed to maybe one of those firms that's not doing a good job. Then how does it look to the realtor? It looks like the one who's calling out title problems is a pain in the butt.
Right.
It looks like the one actually doing their job is a pain. They're slowing
But just
things
to be
down.
clear, there are good people at all of these, right?
Totally
like there are
agree.
really good lawyers that are also at some of the title companies.
Terrible email address.
Yeah. It's more their back office.
AOL?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, that's a whole other.
I
You just
love
know it's a
that.
shit show when you
love
see
that.
at AOL. You're like,
Yeah.
this is going to be a horrible transaction.
Oh my God. So many of my producers still use an AOL account.
Oh,
Not even
boy.
lying. It is what it is. I mean, eek. Hey,
Yeah.
you can
They're
leave
the
a
ones that are
glass of
going to
water.
fax you handwritten notes on your PNS.
And they do.
Yeah.
I like when I get them left on the voicemail.
No, do you know that? You know
Honest to God. And I called and I was like, hey, whatever his name was, I'm not your secretary, so maybe you should dictate that to her because I'm not going to do it. Like, I can just picture his old ass sitting at his desk. Okay.
Right.
Pound sand.
They were.
I do still see attorneys like having their girls with the dictaphone tapes.
Can you imagine?
Stop.
It's
There
Oh
was-
my
just
God.
too much.
Stop.
Do you remember we were on a transaction this past summer where it was like the financing contingency was due at like 5:00, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Brendan called me at like 5:50, and I was like, "Hey, we're good, right?" They didn't ask for an extension, and he was like, "Oh no, they did." And I go, "Oh, I didn't see it come across on the email chain." He goes, "Yeah, I found it in the fax machine."
Oh, no.
The
It
fax
says
machine?
fax right in the PNS.
Yeah.
This is unacceptable.
The people are faxing. Yeah.
And wait, it's also unacceptable that you have a fax machine.
No, we it was like it's an email.
Wait,
it's
can
an email.
we-
It's an email.
Right,
We have
okay.
emails. We do have typewriters.
Right. Yes, you need those sometimes.
We have typewriters, but we
Right.
don't have a fax machine.
He
It's
said he
e-fax.
faxed it to me.
I will
And
have
I'm
you
sorry.
guys know the fax machine at Fidelity National Title. It's going.
It's cranking
daily,
all day
not
long.
all day.
Title
but-
orders coming in.
Well, now with wire fraud, I
gosh.
feel like it's kind of coming back. Wire fraud's the best thing that ever
What's
happens
wire
to the
fraud?
fax. Oh,
Is
boy.
that insurable?
Unlikely.
No.
So what does it mean when the title's screwed up, right? So you get an issue in the title, and then there's all this like, it's insurable, but it's not, you know, marketable. Like, walk us through, like, okay, so when they said, "Oh, we'll undertake and indemnify," like, what the F does that actually mean?
Nothing.
And why should a buyer or seller move forward or not?
Sometimes with the indemnification is if they'll take it on and get it, that's different. But if they're just saying, cool, just close, that's a pain because it's going to come up again when they sell it.
Sure.
So those are like the nuances that you want to make sure are figured out. Sometimes they'll do it if it's like in the mail or on its way, and that stuff you get, right? Yeah, no problem. Close with this. No big deal. I'll make sure it's settled.
But those are more like I like to call fake title problems, like the
curative stuff. That's
curative
like not
stuff,
real.
easy stuff.
No one's going to write over anything that's real.
Right.
You hope.
I mean,
I like to have a couple of people on speed dial just in case.
I see the word foreclosure. I just saw it, and I was like, I know this is clean because I know the firm who did it.
Yeah.
And it was a flipper, and it was the city of Beverly who foreclosed, and I can see it, and it says all the right statutes, and I was like, I don't trust it. And
so did you send it to an underwriter?
Yeah.
Oh, good. And they said yes?
I don't know. It's probably in my email.
Oh, you're still waiting.
she's here.
It's on the fax machine.
Right. It's on the fax machine. I had to send 2 over today. That's a real pain.
Oh.
2 faxes?
No, never a fax.
2 titles.
2 titles.
Right. So let's walk through that. So for the listener, right? So
they don't know.
A transaction comes in, and one of the first things after the PNS is signed, usually.
You better order title on LAD, by the way, like today.
I don't order title. I have the seller.
Oh.
Jesus, Seth, catch up.
Buyer's attorney orders title. But they should order title very quickly. You are correct. It's registered land, though, so it's going to be easy.
Oh, sweet mother of pearl.
We can get into the registered land.
No one understands that. It's like
bad?
the cloud.
It's awful.
Are we closing on the 28th?
Oh, yeah. No. Registered land is easy.
Unless there's like
unless
one
there's
hiccup or a dead person. If there's a dead person.
There's no dead people.
Thank goodness.
Should be okay.
An invalid plan reference is a problem, though.
Dead people in land court, no bueno.
Anything in land court, no bueno. I'm hosting. I can't handle land court. I can't even. So we're not going to go there. We're going to come back to reality, and we're going to talk about ordering title. So you order title. So coming, all this stuff intersects, right? So ordering title as soon as you can.
Which means you ask someone to run a full title search.
Yes.
Some people do it in-house. I do not.
50 years. So basically telling the lawyer what is the history of that piece of land. And then the lawyer is going to take that exam and make sure everything's good and
say lots of swears.
Yes.
Maybe.
So there are these people in pre-pandemic, they would like live inside the registry of deeds, and you would send a title order over. They would have someone go like pull all the books, look at everything, scan it, and send you like a 50-page packet, a 100-page packet, and has a cover sheet. And hopefully you have a good title examiner, and the cover sheet tells you the problems. You can't rely on the cover sheet. You should probably look at the pages underneath the cover sheet, but that's a whole other story. Amy, what? You're a good lawyer. You look at the other pages. I know you do.
I scroll through the whole thing.
Yeah,
like
of course. I know you do. So the title comes back, but when we were busy, titles were taking 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and depending on your volume, like if you were doing 100 transactions and you were putting them all with the same person, they would be quicker. If you were the guy that had 1 or 2 titles, they took longer. So depending on the timelines, coming back to that title problem you were talking about that you found out 2 days before closing, what that tells us is they didn't order title, that the bank was on them for a title commitment, that they were probably like up until the last minute. Because a lot of lawyers, especially older lawyers in 2008, got burned owing all the title examiners money when the economy crashed and nobody had deals that they had ordered, right? So some people are very cautious.
Right.
I know a firm that won't order a title until the mortgage commitment date.
What? I mean, that's insane.
I just wait till the purchase and sale is signed, which upsets some of my lenders, and I'm like, I'm not.
Right. We don't order until the PNS is signed either.
And send me a title order. I don't believe your word all the time.
And a 1003.
So they send someone to give them a report. Then they read the report.
Talk on the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Then they read the report. And then
all the shit bombs blow up.
So if there's a problem, if you see the word foreclosure.
My brain just exploded. All 3 of you started talking.
Because it's like the most important
felt like I was
part.
being incinerated.
So anytime, and I know a lot of attorneys who operate the same way, if I see the word foreclosure in the line, I don't want to touch it. So what I do is I send it to a lawyer over at Jackie's company. It's called an underwriter. And I say, you look at this and give me the okay, because otherwise I'm on the line.
Right.
And they say whatever, and I print that little email out and I stick it in the file, because if anything comes back, I'm like, hey.
You authorized me to do this.
You said this was okay.
Yeah.
So that's how that sort of happens.
So the underwriters kind of run title in Massachusetts and probably most places, right? So if there are problems on the title, and you start to see things, you want to get the underwriters to say you're okay to write.
Absolutely.
Or you're not okay to write. And if you're not okay to write, you want the underwriter to tell you what you need to do to get okay to write. Because without a clean marketable title and a title insurance policy for the lender, you can't move that transaction. I mean, I guess you could sell it to a cash buyer, but they're going to have a problem if they ever want to sell it.
Right.
I also know lawyers who send every title to an underwriter.
Same.
I mean, that seems like the underwriters would get mad.
So, let me ask you a question. So,
but Jackie and I have talked about that topic, and I think it's a change in the industry.
Well, so you who write usually exclusively with one or two companies, right?
We write with like 6.
Things gonna get ugly here. Jackie's gonna throw.
No. Jackie and I talk about this a lot.
I'm coming from a place of curiosity.
Yeah.
Right. So seriously, one of the reasons we want to start this podcast is not only it's great discussion, but like I have the ability to learn. Brendan has the ability to learn, and like this is obviously way more in his wheelhouse than mine. Like I don't even fucking know who orders this thing, right? So, so I completely lost what I was going to say, but it was going to be really good
about picking which title company to write with.
Yeah. So when you're you don't want to claim on your
we don't want to claim
on the owner's policy or the lender's policy, right?
Correct.
Right.
That would never come back to us, though.
What?
That comes to me. I mean, that's honestly.
But if we screwed up, if we wrote the policy and didn't have the email from the underwriter, that's coming back on us.
I'll tell you exactly
100% coming back on us.
And so when this claim is hypothetically filed, which are you more concerned with it impacting the lender or the owner's policy? The lender's
It would probably do both.
Yeah. Right.
If it was a claim, it would affect both the lender because it would mean the lender didn't have a good lien and the owner doesn't have equitable title. So it's like
almost always.
And now the lender can't sell that loan on the secondary market.
Right.
Oh, interesting. So who would find out first? It would almost always be the owner, no?
Most likely.
Because the owner's trying to convey or refinance or something.
Well, or the people that think they own the property show up and say, we own this property.
Yeah.
Or
does that actually
that
happen?
happened a lot after the 2008 crash, like a lot, because a judge made this decision and changed the foreclosure laws and said, "Oh, BT Dubs, this is retroactive."
Right.
What?
That's
As in,
worst.
like, it was so stupid. It's like, are you drunk?
Because how often do laws get changed retroactively?
Right. So
it's
all
like
the
day one in law school.
All the
doesn't
foreclosures
happen.
that happened previously were invalid. So these people are like, hey, this is my house. Oh, it was like the Wild West. It was insane.
They changed the law, Fidelity Corporate, and they're like, what are you talking about? That
was insane.
happen.
So if there's a foreclosure on title, there's this questionnaire you have to send to Fidelity for them to write it. So like each title company too has a different procedure for foreclosures because they're still trying to clean up the mess from post 2008. So like whenever you see a foreclosure on title, it's automatically flagged and sent to the underwriters. But I think your question to come back to the answer,
the one I forgot.
Yeah,
that one.
In our office, what we do is
when are we taking that break for beers?
Right after I answer this question. So in our office, what we do is we look through all the databases because we write with 5 or 6 companies and we see who has the old owner's policy and we just start there and sort of place that policy with that company and move it forward. Because we know if we can write on an old owner's policy that it's better than just starting over.
Sure.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you do that?
I do.
Yeah.
I love a good back title search that never works.
Oh, really?
I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm like, come on. You know, with that other one we had, and I had everyone under the sun
we're going to talk about
searching.
that one at some point. I can't wait for that one.
Sounds like it was a bad one.
It was a great one.
Title's kind of just like who's on the hook. Like hot potato,
yeah,
right?
Like who's getting
who's
stuck.
Next? Last one up.
I think I understand.
Unless there's no policy.
Right.
Then it's just the owner's on the hook.
Right.
But there's almost, if there's a loan, there's a policy.
No, the lender's policy doesn't cover you as an owner. It only covers the bank.
It's worthless.
So you have to opt to say yes to get that owner's title insurance.
Yeah. I'm certainly not going to debate that. Like, I'm all in on that. When I was an immature idiot, I was definitely all about trying to save money. And then I watched how many of these deals happen that have title issues. Like, I love it. But so walk me through an instance where there's a title issue and the owner does not have title insurance. Is this only then on conveyance of sale where then the owner's on the hook legally with legal fees to solve.
Or refi. If you're trying to refi, you couldn't refi.
Right. So really the lender is only protected in the state of what? Like a foreclosure or a taking or a resale of the loan?
A lender's
protected.
Like
as
their
long
interest
as that
is
loan
protected.
is in effect,
Right.
right? So the owner's policy is good for as long as you or your heirs own the property. So the lender's policy is good until they refi or sell the loan, and then it just goes
So
away.
let me ask the question differently, right? So let's say I don't have an owner's policy, and, I'm trying to sell my house, and there's a title issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The lender's policy.
The lender
is not gonna
doesn't
help
do
you.
anything
It
for
doesn't
you.
affect the lender. You're still going to pay the lender.
I
off.
actually have a great example of that.
All right, what I'm curious is the lender notified that there's a title issue?
No.
So they just
They don't care.
Because they're going to get paid.
Right?
They're going to get paid.
Because they have a
That's
mortgage.
They look at it like
Fair.
how
Unless their
offset?
interest is totally gone. I'm sure they'd figure it out eventually when a new owner showed up if the title problem was bad enough. But
Right.
on the onset of the knowledge of the problem, the lender doesn't get notified.
No.
Yeah, I was curious if there's someone in this ivory tower that's like trying to enact lenders' title policies in an effort to clean up title. Sounds like that's just not a thing. No one gives a fuck.
No.
The owner's always on the hook.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually
That actually makes owner's title insurance, I think, so much more important.
100%.
totally.
Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
I was just thinking. A friend of mine, basically anything that happens in my personal life revolving anything to do with title, someone calls me because that's what they remember. So my husband's very good friend, they were selling their house. So their first house in Melrose, it was over kind of near the town line, which I know has a lot of title issues over there, right? Generally areas
When
with
was this?
family. This is like 3 or 4 years ago, not even. So basically, my husband's friend selling their property. So what
Was it on the
happened?
Saugus line?
Yes, it was like right. It was on that spot near where it's Melrose. You're just in Melrose enough to make that extra money.
On Altamont?
I don't know.
Continue.
Anyway, do you know this?
Maybe he might.
Maybe you do. All
Continue.
right. Well, because they call and they're like, Jackie, we have a title problem. I said, okay, well, send me your documents. Let me see what you did. So I want to see the settlement statement, and I'm instantly looking. Do you have owner's title insurance? Right. So they're selling their house. The borrower's attorney finds a title issue, and what they found was that they had no access to the property, right? So even though this is a huge title problem, so even though there's a driveway there, physically you could see it, they
don't own it.
They don't own it. They don't have rights to use it, right?
Oh,
So
interesting.
they did not have owner's title insurance, okay? So if they had, they would have filed a claim with the title company, and we would have made it right. Since they didn't, what happened, and these are my personal friends, they took a $140,000 haircut on the sale of that property because
There was no access to a
there
public
was no
way.
access. So the borrower, the person that was buying the house, they would need to pay to fix it. And that is a very real example of someone I knew that, they'll never see that much money again. If they had bought that owner's policy, they would have been all set. Plus, the attorney that did the closing is one of the worst ones that I know does such a terrible job that makes it
Can't wait for
difficult.
that name.
Oh,
Right,
dinner can't come soon
But
enough.
I mean, that was like a great example. They lost like $130. Boom, 130,000.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's wild.
it's bad.
Amy,
I have no comment.
well, let's take a quick break.
Let's do that.
All right.
I think he
Theoretically.
thought my mom had them.
Maybe.
Details. Who needs little details like where they are? He knew they were coming home eventually.
Right.
That's
Right.
true.
He knew you had it under control.
He
Right.
had to pick them up though, which I forgot to add that part.
Oh. And you forgot to tell him that part? Yeah. All right.
That's right. She handled it while we were on.
Oh, perfect.
We're on
Good
when
friends.
we were on the pod.
Yeah. When we were talking title.
Talking title.
All right.
Yeah. So title problems are
Back into it.
yeah, title problems that we're
That was a
getting
fast
right back into it.
transition.
What?
That was a fast transition.
Well, we were talking about them before. We were talking about the place in Saugus.
Right. Like
Yeah.
real issues.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
But
We still don't know what these buttons do.
they all do fun stuff. They're just too far away from me. I need like
It's probably, you need a stick.
I need a stick. I'm gonna get one.
Good.
Sounds dangerous.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I can see the colors though.
That's
So-
true. Thank you for that.
Yeah. We need the labels. I'm bringing my label maker next time I come. Do you have a label maker?
No.
Oh, we do. We have a couple. I'll bring one. You don't have a label maker?
Do you
Perfect.
label like
All of my files have to be
Gucci.
labeled. No.
Burberry?
No.
Oh.
You can just tell.
You can just
I
tell.
got you.
Yeah.
Mm.
You've heard of those things?
I have friends.
You have new neighbors that like that? Our friends just bought
I didn't know how far to
a
go
vacation house across the street from Amy. They live in South Boston. But they're
This is a vacation in Beverly.
yeah,
with that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
and directly across the street from Amy.
Wait a minute, Amy. Where do you live in Beverly? You're not like Beverly Farms, are you?
How dare you?
Oh, sorry.
I'm in Ralside.
Ryleside is
wow.
up and
That's-
coming.
It is
It's where
up
it's
and
at.
coming.
It's
I'm
where
on
it's
the
at.
water.
Any thoughts
Oh,
of
yeah,
selling?
okay. I love it over there.
Do you know a good agent?
No. I'm never selling.
Never.
Double.
Oh yeah. He lives over there
He
too.
does. Loves
Who?
the outside.
Jeff Wallace, Compass.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Beverly's awesome lately, though. Like Cabot Street and everything. It's so built up. No.
Frank.
What, they have all those little restaurants? And
I
stuff? You're
love
such
the
a
I love the
townie,
eye rolls.
Right? Like, oh, I'm old Beverly.
You don't like Frank?
I like where I grew up.
What do you like? The Italian club?
I love the ICC.
I know you do.
The Franco is actually where I
The
was more.
Franco?
For the Elks.
Is that the one across from Seven North Plumbing?
Yes.
Winthrop's
Yeah.
got a nice Elks.
Yeah.
All right, we're way off topic.
Yeah.
Let's wrap
The
this
Elks.
up.
We're going back to title problems.
20 minutes.
So Amy, you had a good title problem.
Yeah, I want to hear the worst title problems. Wow.
Amy had a good one.
The worst title problems you've ever you've ever seen,
Come across.
come across.
They're all with dead people.
Yeah, dead people suck.
But like, tell me.
That's
tell
how
me a
I got
good-
into probate.
I want to hear a good story.
Okay.
About title.
Um.
Do you want me to ask you a better question?
No, I think that one is probably
That
the
one's
worst.
real good.
What did you say?
It was real bad. I had to enroll this one to help me with the probate.
Oh, I love that.
It was
Let's hear it.
so normally I've dealt with some probate issues in the past, so I can kind of fumble my way through it
Sounds great.
because
Inspiring.
That's what I want to hear from my attorney,
I know.
Right.
who I literally engaged moments ago
Yes.
via email.
Well, if there's
For a
death-
real estate transaction.
Sometimes I just
Real
like to
estate.
fumble
well,
through it.
I'm saying through probate. It's like I can figure it out mostly because one of my very dear friends is a clerk in the Essex Probate Court.
Okay, all right.
So I have a lot of
Good friend to have.
good friend to
Good
have.
friend to have.
So I learned with a different probate problem in Lynn, there was a part of a house in a driveway that the sellers did not own. The parents were dead. Everybody was dead. The people who sold them the property but never recorded a deed for that piece of land were dead. The real estate attorney...
Unclaimed then, to a degree, or just reverts to the previous?
Well, right. It's reversed to the previous owner, their estate.
Wow.
So the real estate attorney was doing it, was like, oh, help. So the agent asked me if I could help, and I was like, no, but yes, because I needed to get in good graces. It was Maura.
Oh, okay.
This is how it all
Oh, this is
happened.
how you landed her. Oh,
Wow.
okay.
So then I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. So I had to find the heirs of the dead people and have them sign a deed
Mm-hmm.
and then have it put on record. The fact that these people were so nice.
With like a
Right.
that 25-year statute with
Yeah,
the affidavit
yep,
and the
and I just
kinship affidavit.
did everything and they signed a deed and they were like, oh my gosh. And they were all like lived still in Lynn and around. They were like, oh, I remember. Actually, one was in Beverly. When my parents did this, I remember them selling it. Like they could remember from the 70s when it happened. It just
Wow.
never was like legal. But this one,
It's so good on so many levels.
I don't even know how to begin. It's actually so confusing that I'm not sure. We
Let's hear it.
basically had to
So this is a different
one.
example.
So we thought just 2 people owned this property, but really 3 did, and this third one was dead,
Mhm.
and not just dead, but dead in Oklahoma.
Ooh.
Mm.
Cross states.
And-
That's an issue.
But they had signed a
Big bro.
deed
Yes,
of the dead woman.
the dead woman. Yeah,
The dead woman did deed out the property by her personal rep
right, but that wasn't good enough.
because it was not done in Massachusetts. So they didn't file an ancillary probate, which means a probate in a different state. So if you die in state 1 and you own property in state 2, you just got the invitation to do 2 probates, one in each state.
Sounds
Bec-
terrible.
Yeah,
Awful.
it is terrible.
It is terrible.
Because
Sounds
you need-
twice as expensive.
Yes.
It is. And you need legal authority in the state in which the real estate is located in order to transfer it. So in Amy's case,
Right.
they deeded it, but they didn't have authority to do the deed.
And then the probate attorney in Oklahoma, whose name was... What was it? He was so amazing.
It was.
He talked with like a southern drawl, and he was checked out. He was like drinking martinis at 9 a.m. This guy. I would be like, Brendan, have you talked to him today? Because he's loaded.
Gordy? It was like something like Gordy or like some name.
So good. So
Thurston.
We had to have him go to court. We had to pay him.
No. We first tried to order. So when you do a probate in a different state, you have to get this higher level of document showing that the probate.
But they wouldn't even give us a death certificate. Remember, I tried to tell them I was a living heir, and I really went out on a limb.
And then we fought with them for like a month to get a death certificate, and then we finally got it. But then you have to get these authenticated documents from the other court, and it's not like you show up and send a letter and they send them to you. In Oklahoma,
oh my God,
you have to file a motion by a lawyer, and they go in and get it. So
give him your firstborn.
Yeah. So I call the guy, and I'm like, we're having a real hard time getting these documents. Like, do you mind help?
You just found another attorney.
No. We had the name. I had contacted him. I was like, he said we could reach out, Brendan. We got to reach out. His name was on all the probate docs, which we could find online.
Sure.
So we called him.
We call him, and I call him, and I say,
this is Gord. We're going to call him Gordy.
Gordy. We call Gordy.
And he was banged up.
All the time.
All the time.
And he was from Oklahoma, and he sounded like he was from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he was on a farm.
Oh, 100%.
Slinging vodka on the rocks.
Must be worse than
So
Vermont.
for like a month and a half, my staff was calling the court every day, like sending letters, sending check requests, like trying to get the documents. So I call the guy, and I'm like, we're having a hell of a time getting these documents. Well, son, you're going to need a motion. And I got some bad news. The judge is retiring in 2 weeks. So it was like we had to remember I called you, and I was
it had
like,
to be the actual judge.
Right.
I just put in that address, and if you saw our emails, I can't go through them. There's too many.
there are way too many. So we had to hire this guy in Oklahoma to get the documents to file in Massachusetts.
Right. The judge was retiring, and then something happened with him, which I don't remember. It was literally one
tragedy after another.
So you have to go back to the original judge?
Yeah.
Yes, you had to in Oklahoma, or it all had to be done. And he was retiring, which we should have had a different reaction than the hysterical laughter reaction. I can't.
That sounds like a logjam.
This is a family friend that you know what I charged?
Oh, stop.
100%.
It always is. Stop doing that.
It's
always the one.
$0.
So then we had to file the probate in Massachusetts. Then we had to file a subsequent petition to ratify the doubtful act of a foreign fiduciary. So we had to wait for one to get approved. Then we had to file the next one. And the judge retired on that one, got reassigned.
And
then in Massachusetts.
Which has never happened. This judge sat in Essex Probate Court for 25 years. Our file is on her desk, and she left on Friday to go to Lawrence?
Yes.
25 years.
No, she went to Suffolk, I think. It was like, deuces, I'm out of here.
Later.
She could have just taken the file.
It was just right here. It was just right here, like next to be signed off. Because my friend saw it, and she's laughing. She goes, "Oh, you were next," but she left for good.
Yeah. And literally your friend was like chasing her out the door with the file.
Yes, it was so absurd. It was like one thing.
And then I think I had to go in. I had to mark it up because it was sitting on the desk and we couldn't get it heard. And there was no judge. So I think I had to go. I went to court.
You had to go.
I never go to court, right? So I had to mark it up and go and appear in front of a judge to get this done.
How much do you guys charge for something like that? In a situation where there's no honest.
Apparently nothing.
We charged a flat fee.
Right,
I charge.
Right?
Yeah.
We charged a flat fee. I think it was what, like $5,000? $5,000 plus the Ohio or the Oklahoma stuff.
Right.
And I think that was another $500 or $600.
Plus the closing's delayed this whole time.
Oh,
Right?
months.
You have to fix
How many
it.
months were you delayed?
Jeez.
April to August, maybe, was it?
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was like every day something horrible would happen. And then the realtor, can we tell the story? Like the real story.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Wait, I don't even remember what happened in the house.
The realtor went to the psychic, and the psychic said that the house was cursed and the ancestors didn't want it sold.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
What?
Right. So, right.
Someone actually said that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
psychic. I was
100%.
like, you have this deal, and
That was like a licensed real estate professional?
No.
This is why it's happening. No, the psychic said it
To
the
the
real
realtor.
estate.
Why did the
professional.
realtor go to the psychic?
Well,
Just to
we're
go to
very-
psychics.
Yeah.
You don't go to psychics?
Nah, man.
You will after you hear this shit.
Right. So the ancestors. So this house had been in the family forever since it was built in Beverly. It had never been sold, and it's finally being sold. And they're like, the ancestors don't want to. So then I call my client, and I'm like, "Can you make them stop it?" And she's like, "What?" She goes to the cemetery, and she's like yelling because she's a lunatic, and she's yelling at her dead mother, father, and aunts and uncles, like, "Please, this just has to happen. It's time. It's a new family." Meanwhile,
they were in on a UNO too.
Meanwhile, the buyers are living there, and I drive by it every day. So I see like a dumpster, and I'm like, "Oh, sweet mother of pearl." I can't. I had my neighbor. My neighbor just did the same thing, and I was the seller's attorney. They're in on a UNO, and they get a dumpster. I'm like, "Hey, Paul." He's like, "Just close the blinds on your window in the kitchen."
Oh, that doesn't work.
That's what he told me to do. I go, "What happens when I have to leave my house?" I can't. Beverly's sometimes too small. So they're in there on the UNO, and then after she prays to the dead people.
Oh, and remember the lawyer with the PNS? It was the same lawyer that we stole the PNS from.
Oh,
the
minion.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice word for her. What it was like emailing every day.
Every day.
We're like, we don't have an update. We will update you when we have an update.
That's my favorite. I'm going to let you know something. You're the first one I'll tell. And then I just started forwarding it to Brendan. I was like, don't bark up my tree anymore because I can't handle it.
And then I just kept ignoring her and told her that I had no standing to talk to her.
Right. And the whole time I'm going $0.
So title problems are real.
Seems it.
Yeah.
So if owners...
Covers that whole bill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Covers everything. Fixes it faster than probably what we could have done maybe.
Right. And on something like that, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, maybe with a national company.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
They got someone in Oklahoma who wasn't drunk and getting to the judge a lot faster.
What's funny?
It's just usually the standard I look for at 9:30. Don't be drunk. That's what I say to these guys all the time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, it's going to say our claim center is in Oklahoma.
Oh, perfect.
We could have just dispatched somebody.
Right, yeah.
They're usually drunk by 9:30 too.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Not at Fidelity. They don't start drinking until noon.
No, yeah.
They are old school.
Only Thursdays, Fridays.
Yeah. So all right. So let's do this. Let's talk a little nitty gritty about agents. What are some things as a couple folks in the title and attorney side of things that you get to see a lot of different stuff? What are some things that I think you hate that agents do, or you wish that they did do in this business from your point of view? Amy, before
Wow. There's so many things I could say here. Here is my biggest one now at this present moment. I understood the deadlines when it was fast and furious and the houses were going crazy. I just had an agent have a PNS due in 2 days.
Hi.
Is this one due in 2 days?
No, this is a long one.
But like, why?
Yeah.
You're just making everyone rush, and there's no reason for it. I understand 5 days. You don't need it in 24 hours. Just everyone relax.
Yeah.
Just give us a minute to get
That's
it
fair.
done correctly.
Yeah.
The other thing is...
I'm a notorious quick PNS type of guy.
Right, and it's never me I'm worried about. It's you don't know who's on
You
the
don't
other
know who's
side.
on the other side.
That is the problem. I will turn it. It's never me. I can promise you that.
Never you.
But it's someone else. So the other problem is...
Especially if you get the guy that faxes you the edits on a PDF, handwritten.
Right.
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 So,
if I'm getting dictated changes...
Yeah.
Who can deal with that? What was my other thing? Oh,
huge deposits.
So
I hate a huge deposit when they're putting like $150 down at the signing of the PNS for a $300,000 house.
Or when you can't look at a calendar and the closing's on a Saturday. Like, get your head out of your ass. You're making a lot of money.
Right. That one. Yeah.
It's just stupid.
The money, the huge deposit at the signing of the PNS infuriates me.
As the buyer's counsel.
Yeah, because I mean, we can still put money down and still show that we have plenty of money to do it, but there are other places to put that, like in the mortgage commitment.
It's funny.
Paragraph.
I'd like to continue, and then I want to debate these. That'd be fun.
Oh.
Okay.
How
do you feel about seller disclosures?
I don't want to see them.
Yeah.
They're never coming into a PNS. They're never being attached. Don't talk to me about it. They're useless. And I'm going to say in the PNS, they're stupid and they do not happen anymore.
Stop it.
Right. The buyer has seen the property. They've had it inspected or not. I don't care. It's all on you. You got to put that on the buyer. You can't have those seller disclosure statements. There's attorneys that want to attach that shit.
Oh, I know.
And I say attach it to your ass. Because it's just not happening.
What about a mortgage commitment date a month before closing?
Right. A lot of shit can happen in a month.
Right. It blows my mind that people even try that.
We've had a few recently that pushed back on that hard and like wanted us to move it back. And I get it if the closing's super long, you want some level of certainty, but like that can't be a clean commitment removal. It's so much at,
because
so
you
much
have
at risk.
to right, but it's all under the buyer's control. So right, and then say that instance had $150,000 deposit. That's serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get worried if it's $25,000. Like some of these buyers can't afford to lose $25,000.
Right.
There's not a buyer that I deal with that can afford to lose their deposit.
Right.
Oh, I've had one in Newton walk away from $50,000.
I couldn't.
And they kept it?
Yes.
And did they litigate?
No, they were
No,
wrong.
they were just like, okay.
They were like, all right. And I was like,
I can't.
Did you do that one for free too?
I was like having an actual. Yeah. So it's like, oh my God. That they didn't care.
Oh.
But I had to show up at the registry in Denham. I had to show up.
To say we're not performing?
To say we're like that they weren't going to show up.
Oh.
It was.
You had the seller?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Someone was telling me the other day someone showed up at their office. Oh, a lawyer in Lynn showed up at someone else's office the other day and said, I'm here to perform. And they were like, well, we're not ready.
You're like, do you have balloons and are you getting naked?
And they defaulted them.
I wish, why aren't people showing up in my office ready to perform?
They're going to the gym.
A couple years ago, completely unrelated, not, PNS signing where like the seller refused to sign it. Like, but we had I think I talked to you about this.
Yes.
So we literally just showed up with the executed PNS, the one that we all mutually agreed in an email with the bank check. And I said, here you go.
Yep. I know.
Let me know when the seller signs it.
I've had that problem with sellers. And I'm like, yeah, this is an offer. Or buyers. Like people think maybe
there's
some
recent case law on this too.
inexperienced agents don't know to say this offer is a binding contract.
Right.
Hopefully.
And when they want to add in other things at the end and like add things in, I'm like, no. There are plenty of times I say, look at the offer. It's not in there. I'm not putting it in there. Unless everyone's okay with it. Right.
Sure.
But like you can go to closing with an offer.
Right.
In the state. So there's no, I don't know that a lot of buyers and sellers understand that. They think it's just like, I just wanted to see how much money I could get.
Well, there's a lot of times where, and we've talked about this at length, where, there's a ton of people who write in subject to satisfactory purchase and sales.
I love that.
Because it makes the offer non-binding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart. I actually like that from a legal standpoint.
From who though?
From buyers.
So if you're a buyer.
It doesn't bother me either. Listen, I don't want to get in
to
litigating and the bullshit fighting. So if that's in there, buyer, seller, I'm happy. I don't have to deal with it. I'll be like, well, it's not.
Yeah.
I once argued that it was implied.
How did that go?
Not well.
Oh.
No. That was for in-laws too. That was the worst.
Were they buying or selling?
Jerks. I almost said a much worse word on this podcast.
That's okay.
Oh my
God.
They'll
cut it.
No, we won't. We love bad words.
No, it was real bad. Like,
I know the one.
This happens to be my favorite.
Mine too.
I know what word it is now.
So anyways.
So just from a debate standpoint, right?
Should we get Jackie's?
Yeah.
What are you hearing that annoys lawyers about agents in the moment?
I guess from where I'm standing, I would tell all the agents to remember that your closing attorney is looking out for you and your client.
100%.
And if they're dragging their feet or saying we can't close, there's a reason for that.
Most of the time.
Don't push them. That's what I see. It's people getting, lawyers getting pushed to close and not do it right. And, like when push comes to shove, most deals will close with the delay. Just protect yourself, protect your clients, honor what the attorney's saying.
I find almost always that pressure is coming from the agent who does 1 to 2 or 3 deals a year. Like they already spent that money, and they have no one's. They have no one's. What's the word? Like, best interest at heart at all,
except for their own.
Correct. They're thinking with their wallet.
Right.
And the reality is you're helping somebody with a life event. You need to be making sure that you have a steady hand through the entire transaction and make sure that you have their best interest at heart, not your own.
So true.
And I think that it's funny. We do this all the time, like threaten to kill deals. Like, just, I don't care. There's a ton of transactions happening. I'm completely unfazed by it. Let's move along. And it just kind of makes you a little bit more savage. You know what I mean? Where you just truly can protect the client.
That's true.
So I think that's a good call. A lot of the times there's a lot of pressure from the agent. So just to debate the few things that you mentioned.
I can't wait.
Here we go.
I shouldn't.
You forget what I do for a living.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say I'm stepping
She
up.
was captain of the debating.
Sometimes my husband's like, "Damn it!"
So
I'm like, "You married a lawyer."
There was your first problem, guy.
Right.
So I think like from a buyer standpoint, right? When you're submitting an offer and your attempt is to make the offer, at least in a multiple offer scenario, the most attractive as possible, I think some of those things come to fruition.
You don't want to do the subject to a mutually agreeable P&S?
I personally never write that in there.
That's fine. I'm just saying from a non-fighting standpoint, I like it as an attorney.
Because it's ambiguous.
I just love
There's always an out.
Right.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
everyone get out and walk
Yeah,
away and
yeah.
not fight and
Yeah.
yell.
So like when someone submits an offer to me, if I'm representing the seller, I strike it.
Subject to mutually agreeable P&S.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
In
You
fact,
want it to
in
be.
fact,
I know why. The pool.
what do you mean?
The house with the pool. Remember the pool liner?
It was in there. That's correct.
Right, but didn't that like you were complaining about that for like 2 months about the P&S and the P&S couldn't get agreed to.
Right.
Am I remembering that right?
Yes and no. I don't
Okay.
think I wrote it in that offer that it was subject to mutually agreeable P&S.
Right.
We just would have had to sue for specific performance. It would have been years.
Right.
So what's the point? Like we just wanted the house,
Mhm.
right? So, no, I wasn't necessarily specifically referencing that language. It was more of higher deposits, faster timelines, right? So I'll give you an example. This property that we just had on the market, ton of offers.
Right. But I feel like at this moment, the one I was referring to, there was just this one offer. Why
Yeah,
are we?
Chill out.
Why are
Yeah.
we?
So
just so hot
you'll
to
be happy
trot?
to know that most normal
P&S
transactions
is due tomorrow on that deal.
has the draft been circulated yet. So as a buyer, like I don't have a problem if I'm trying to be really, really aggressive. Say, hey, we're ready to perform on the purchase of sales in 3 days, and I tell my clients it's the seller's obligation to draft this document. I'd be shocked if they get it to us in time to make edits, and we'll be able to just simply extend if we have to. If they get it out on time, we're all set. I know that the attorney we're using will turn it quick when we receive it. No problem, right? On the seller side, I also like to see the aggressive timeline, especially in a multiple offer situation. I don't want to be in these instances where, you
have it off the market.
Yeah,
It all makes sense.
for 7 to 10
Yes.
days.
Just
And-
not in the solo offer instance.
We're in agreement.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Especially when this is a double-sided deal.
Yeah, and
One agent.
Yeah, that's a little
Listing
weird.
and writing the offer. I'm like,
Well,
what?
so back to what I just said, I guarantee you that's a little bit more of the driver than it is anything else.
The
Maybe.
commission.
Sticking with your wallet.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
I think across
Well,
the board
sure,
in this
of course.
industry, like if you're in this business and you want to stay long term through the crashes, I think you do have to do the right thing because your reputation is everything. You
No doubt.
always run into the same people over and over and over, and
That is what shocks me in this business. There's like 50 people who actually sell real estate in like the North Shore. I feel like
Right.
we all just run into each other constantly.
So
It's
true.
crazy. So I think that's a good call.
So Seth, what would your thing be for the realtors, for the agents? What's your thing?
Wow,
that
that's a
irks
good
you?
question. I would say the lack of ability to control your client, right? So like when a client gets to run amok asking for ridiculous things at different points in the transaction when they've lost the ability to ask for those things, or they just, it's always like take. Like we try and do a really good job to explain to our client, hey, listen, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say we proceed to a home inspection. Home inspection happens, and the buyer, the inspection, shows that the roof is at the end of its useful life and needs to be replaced. Well, guess what? When we saw the property the first time, we saw that the roof sucked. An agent should be like, hey, by the way, the roof looks super old. We can probably get a quote to find out how much that costs. Maybe it's $8,500. Maybe it's $10,000. Let's make our offer accordingly, depending on the scenario. Maybe it's a multiple offer scenario. Maybe it's not. Let's forget about it. Do not try and bring this up. And then you get to a home inspection. And unfortunately, if I'm representing the seller, items like that come up. It's like, did you not have eyes when you were at the property previously? I've had people ask for the driveway to be replaced. I've had sidewalks to be repaired. Add this, add that. Like, where did you guys not look at the house 3 times? Like, why are you asking us for very visible things? So that I always get frustrated by that, because I know that for my clients, I'm going out of my way to make sure that they're not asking for those things.
Right.
What about when something's under agreement and they ask if they could submit an offer? Does that annoy you?
Yeah, I think it's just like just general like stupidity.
Attention to detail.
Right.
Yeah, it can be super,
reading.
It can be super frustrating. Hey, what are the offer instructions? Please read the MLS. Like any
Oh, there are words in MLS? I thought it was just pictures.
I try and go really out of my way to stop inbound communication that wastes time. Right? So like it frustrates me when people just jump the gun and like don't do any level of due diligence, and it's very wasteful. And I would say the second thing is lack of responsiveness. Huge. And that often comes that often comes from someone who's not in this business full time.
Right.
I'll give you another example. I just got this property where we had multiple offers on. One of the top offers, I just simply, like, this is the offer deadline day. You should be expecting my phone call. I try to get somebody on the phone for 4 hours. Like, time is of the essence right now. We're trying to get this transaction done.
That's negligence.
I told everyone I'd be responding within an hour of the offer deadline. I've tried to call this person multiple times, and just, oh yeah, what's up? Like, just very like
right.
they were clearly preoccupied with like their real job or something, and it's just super frustrating when like this is my real job. This is you guys'
right.
real job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the biggest high stakes profession there is out there. We're helping people with life events. Just be all in or be out.
It's shocking.
Right.
Lawyers do that all the time too.
Lawyers do. I love it right now
worst.
too. And I write back, don't act like you're busy. Like, not now.
What are you, 6 feet, 4 foot tall? Are you really this busy?
I literally can't. When
are
they're
you
like,
a lawn ornament?
Oh, sorry. I was like, what were you doing? Because you're not that busy right now. Like, you can handle this email with this purchase and sale agreement because it's not that busy.
AOL email stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I have to mention the biggest problem in real estate right now.
Tell us.
Wire fraud.
Okay, what's that?
Fraud. Wow. So the number one issue in the industry right now is absolutely people hijacking these payoffs, right? So pretty much it's happening with the attorneys. For the most part, someone gets fraudulent wire instructions involved in the deal. Like, they'll monitor emails throughout the transaction. These fraudsters have become familiar with how the money flows through the transaction, and they'll just send you false wire instructions at the end. So, your borrower, where did the money go? It's gone. So that, I would say, is because, in large part, of these unsecure email addresses.
Sure.
And on the legal side, we've really been big on that the last few years, but
that's
I can
why
see
we
with
have
the realtors.
fax machines.
Well, right, the fax machines. Like I said,
To
wire
fax
fraud's the best thing that happened to a
payoffs.
fax. Yeah.
Oh, I won't take them by email.
No.
Right.
Nor do I wire to personal accounts. I'm that jerk.
Yeah.
Won't do it.
But I
Doesn't
think
matter.
all
Wow.
Sorry.
yeah.
Go away.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
if it's gone, it's gone. Do you
what if
understand
it's your
what I'm
client?
saying?
And do you take the wire for your client
Nope.
and then write a check?
Yes.
You won't wire to your client.
I will not.
What if it's multiple
Unless
transactions?
it's an extreme. I'll wire to an IOLTA account,
yeah.
not to a personal account, unless they're in like California or something, and then I'm a
Mhm.
lunatic and make them show me their check and put it on their big toe.
But you use Qualia,
take
right?
pictures.
Doesn't Qualia have a confirmation component? One of the bigger firms, I believe, has a wire.
It's a what's the name of that, Jackie?
Positive Pay or
Yes.
Certified. There's like
Certified.
different programs.
And-
And
Certified.
but is it an integration with Qualia? Because I thought it came through Qualia. Because whenever I send wire instructions to one firm, you get this series of
Certified
emails.
thing, and they do it. Actually, the person we stole the purchase and sale from does that.
No, this is not who I was talking
You're not
about.
going to send me a Qualia login, are you?
I hate that. No, I won't do it. I won't
never-
do
I
it.
hate a Qualia
I
login.
won't do it. I
I'm never
will
gonna
not
log
do
in.
it. I'm not either.
I won't either. Because
Wait, they
Qualia
send it
owns the
to me.
records. You can't, like, if there's emails in that transaction, they're not on my server. They're on Qualia's server.
Yeah, no.
Like, I won't communicate through Qualia. I
No,
won't
I
do
won't
anything, Jackie.
They did confirm that would be downloaded to you if you ever stopped using the program. That was something.
No,
that was
but
big
as
deal
a
for
third
us.
party, not a we don't use Qualia. We use eClosing.
Right.
So I'm not communicating
see
at
what you're
all
saying.
because I don't have a record on my server of that communication. I'm not going to.
I will not do it.
Thank
and
you.
I'm a Qualia user, so
I
it
know
just
you are.
shows up, and I'm like, I'm not clicking in there,
Yeah,
I
delete.
don't
and I
either.
won't use that. No, I hate it. And I don't need to be updated when you order this. Who cares? Just do your job. Everyone do their job.
Well, wouldn't
That's
that
the
just
worst
be
call.
paradise?
I know. Well, it just makes me nuts. If everyone just did their job, we'd all be okay.
Yes.
We'd probably be a lot. We'd have better mental health.
That is the truth.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
That is the truth.
for sure.
All right, Brendan,
All right,
wrap us up.
All right. So, as you know, the name of the podcast is The Word.
The word.
Yeah. So if you were each to look at your next 12 months and define it with one word, what would said word be?
It's a lot of pressure. That's more.
I told you 2 days ago that this question was coming.
Wow.
No,
come
you
on,
never did.
man.
Oh, I definitely did.
Text or email because we'll go back and prove it.
I thought I on the
See,
phone.
lawyers, like,
Is it,
you can't just,
it
like,
was in
say,
it was
I
in
said it.
Qualia.
I sent
Prove
it,
it.
I sent
I
it through
didn't log in.
Qualia.
I didn't log in.
Didn't we talk about this?
No.
Oh, I told Jackie.
You knew?
I couldn't remember actually.
Right,
Remember
'cause
we
you
talked
told
this
me
morning?
today.
I was like, what was that question Brendan said he asked
And I
everyone?
said, I don't know. He wouldn't tell me. Isn't that what I said?
That is what you said.
But
today.
didn't you and I talk about this?
No.
Oh, maybe I talked to you. And
But
I thought
I
talked
forgot.
to you.
I
It
did
was not
forget it.
intentional.
I would have told
Okay.
you. But
Do you know your word? Mine is going to be,
Mine was accountability.
oh, what are you going to be accountable for?
I'm just trying to be more generally accountable
That's
to my
good.
staff, to like myself. I started with a new trainer today. Like I'm trying to
Oh.
like get better at my life.
I'm accountable in all facets, so that's not going to work.
All right.
Mine may be pivot.
Oh,
ooh,
that's a good word for you. I like it.
I like that word for you too.
Yep.
What-
I might just have to pivot.
Okay.
Real
Uh-oh.
estate fails me.
Whoa! Back up, Amy. Let's not get crazy.
Maybe
Jackie
this
now
shouldn't
does
be
not
when
like
I-
it.
I hate pivot.
Pivot is not a good look for you,
Bad.
according to Jackie.
All right, Jackie, what's your word?
Happiness.
Oh.
I want to be
Wow.
happy. I want to be happy at work. I want to be happy at home. I want to surround myself with people that make me happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I want
That's
to do
deep.
good work.
Don't we
Yeah.
all want that?
Yeah. But do you have it?
No.
That's actually such a thing when you talk to people like, are you happy? I've asked so many successful people that and they're like, what?
What does happy mean?
Because real estate is just so consuming, right? The
It
people
is
that are
very
very
consuming.
successful, we've all been there, right? You can work around the clock. And I do feel like a lot of successful people, especially people newer to the business, they don't seem happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the point? So that would be
Right.
my word, happy.
Love it.
Awesome.
Great job, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
This
Yeah,
is
thank you
good.
guys for coming on. This is awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Now I know about
Do you though?
Title
No.
title
Did we make
We'll
any?
discuss again.
Yeah.
title bombs.
yeah.
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 But key is ordering title early.
And always getting owner's title insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
Call it.
Call it.